Josee, a young girl who has rarely left the house by herself due to her inability to walk, and Tsuneo, a university student equipped with his passion for diving and admiration for marine biology. Tsuneo Suzukawa works several part-time jobs to earn enough money to study abroad. But one fateful night, he meets a girl in a wheelchair, forcing him to deviate from his current path. At the film's beginning, we see Tsuneo going about daily activities such as studying, working, and diving. Tsuneo, who works at a diving store, was checking on a picture of a fish he took while diving, and a girl named Mai complimented him. While at work, Mai invited Tsuneo to go diving with their friend Hayato, who also works there, the following week. During the conversation, Hayato mentioned that they both had no girlfriends. On the other hand, Tsuneo stated that he could not look for a girlfriend or join them for diving next week because he would be looking for a new part-time job. Tsuneo saw a girl in a wheelchair coming down a downhill road towards him late at night on his way home. That girl was thrown from her wheelchair, landing directly on top of Tsuneo, who had been attempting to save her earlier. After a while, an elderly woman, who appeared to be that girl's grandmother, came running down and thanked Tsuneo for saving her granddaughter. The girl's grandmother calls her Kumiko, but she prefers Josee. She then snatched Tsuneo's hand and called him a pervert for groping her. They then walked together because their houses were on the same street. The grandmother told Tsuneo that Josee was born this way and that they usually walked at night because she thought it would be safer and no one would see them. However, she stated that the world is full of terrifying beasts. Tsuneo was invited to dinner by his grandmother. Josee was still upset with Tsuneo because she called her a pervert, and even their cat was hostile to Tsuneo. Josee then requested tea from her grandmother, but Tsuneo prepared and handed it to her. However, she threw things at him because the tea was too hot for her. Josee's grandmother offered him a job before Tsuneo left, which he accepted because he desperately needed money. Tsuneo's job requires him to obey all of Josee's commands. Tsuneo arrived at Josee's house the next day to begin his new job. Josee always goes to her room when Tsuneo is around to avoid him. Josee assigns Tsuneo to do pointless and tedious tasks such as kneeling, counting threads, finding four-leafed clovers, etc. Tsuneo was very upset with Josee, and she told Mai and Hayato about it. Mai and Hayato advised Tsuneo to resign from his job. One day, a professor from his university approached Tsuneo and told him that he could continue his studies in Mexico. Tsuneo was overjoyed because he had always dreamed of continuing his studies abroad after graduating. On the other hand, Josee asked her grandmother to accompany her outside, but her grandmother refused, claiming that the outside world was dangerous. When Tsuneo arrived at Josee's house, he expressed his desire to leave but received no response. Tsuneo then entered Josee's room and discovered beautiful paintings of the ocean on the walls. He then heard Kumiko's grandmother calling for her. Tsuneo was then informed by the grandmother that Josee had gone missing. Tsuneo eventually found Josee and attempted to bring her home. But Josee asked him to accompany her to the beach. Tsuneo took her to the sea after hearing that. They soon arrived at a beach. Josee then inquired as to how seawater tasted. She went on to say that her father once took her to the sea when she was a child, but she couldn't go near it because she was afraid of the waves. Josee is desperate to know the answer to that question because both of her parents have died. She knows it's salty because she's read about it in books, but she still wants to be specific. Tsuneo then carried Josee to the sea, where she could finally taste the seawater. Tsuneo then returns to his job of caring for Josee. Her grandmother was furious with both of them when they arrived at Josee's house and issued a warning to Tsuneo. Josee then questioned him about why he had taken her to the sea. He then admitted that he has a soft spot for anyone who yearns for the sea. Josee intends to go outside again and informs Tsuneo that her grandmother usually naps between 1 and 3 p.m. They both sneaked out of the house the next day and had a good time together. This went on for days as they went to various places such as the park, zoo, aquarium, etc. Tsuneo told Josee about the fish in the aquarium, which amazed Josee. Despite knowing they went out frequently, the grandmother kept it quiet because she saw Josee becoming happier by the day. Josee and Tsuneo went to the library together one day. The librarian asked Josee if she liked Sagan, the author of the book she was about to borrow before she let her borrow it. Kana, the librarian, was apparently a fan of the author and was delighted to see another fan. After that, Josee and Kana became friends. Tsuneo then drove Josee to the diving shop where he works. They met Hayato and Mai there. Josee quickly left the store, feeling uneasy and upset, which perplexed Tsuneo. Josee asked her grandmother late at night to tell Tsuneo not to come back. The grandmother then contacted Tsuneo. Tsuneo was informed the next day that he had been awarded a scholarship to continue his studies in Mexico. He intended to visit there the following year. Meanwhile, Josee and Kana were at the library. Because Kana was busy then, the kids asked Josee to read them a book. She was so nervous that she read the books to the kids quickly and clearly, which caused them to fall asleep and leave her except for one child. That child requested that Josee draw the mermaid castle from the books she had read. Kana was impressed when she drew a beautiful castle. Kana then suggests that Josee work as an artist, but Josee is still hesitant. At night, Tsuneo went to Josee's house and gave her a beautiful fish light ornament he had purchased from a diving store. He informed her that the Clarion angelfish can be found in Mexico. While sitting together, Tsuneo told Josee that his parents were divorced and his mother worked very hard for them both. Tsuneo and Josee's relationship improved as a result of this. Josee asked Tsuneo if she wanted to go out again one day, but this time in front of her grandmother. This astounded her grandmother. Josee then explained to her grandmother that the world isn't all bad. Her grandmother was speechless but burst out laughing after Josee and Tsuneo left. Josee and Tsuneo went to the zoo together and saw a tiger. Josee then informed Tsuneo that she wished to pursue a career as an artist. Josee's grandmother died one day, leaving him alone. As a result, Tsuneo needed to be more focused on his daily activities. Two men arrived at Josee's house the next day to meet him. They introduced themselves as social workers and arrived because a neighbor had requested that they assist Josee in finding work so that she could survive. When Josee was interested in becoming an artist, they advised her to look for work instead. This irritated her, and she went to her room, ignoring the two of them. Josee then encountered Mai and Hayato while sitting on the side of a bridge overlooking the river. Mai and Hayato were looking for Josee to cheer her up. But Mai instead requested that Josee release Tsuneo because Tsuneo had been working very hard for his dream, and Mai believed that Josee was preventing him from achieving it. Mai informed Josee that Tsuneo intended to study abroad the following year, which surprised Josee. Josee was furious with Mai, claiming that Tsuneo should have told her instead of Mai. Tsuneo had been visiting Josee out of sympathy, according to Mai, which left Josee speechless. Tsuneo arrived at Josee's house and discovered that Josee had cut her hair and sold all of her paintings. Josee then informed Tsuneo of her final request. She asked him to take her back to the sea. Josee revealed at the beach that she had taken an office job and given up her dream of becoming an artist, claiming that it was out of reach. Josee left Tsuneo after revealing she knew of Tsuneo's plans to travel abroad. Josee's wheelchair became stuck in the middle of the road after leaving Tsuneo, and a car rapidly approached her. Tsuneo rushed to save Josee, but he was hit by a vehicle that couldn't stop due to the slick road. He was immediately transported to a hospital. Josee was incredibly stressed as a result of the accident. Tsuneo's shin bone was broken at the ankle in the accident, making it difficult for him to walk or run as before, and rehab may not be enough to fix everything. Josee went to apologize to Tsuneo and the hospital, but Tsuneo said it was not her fault. Tsuneo's professors, Mai and Hayato, went to see him in the hospital the next day. The professor informed him that he had lost the scholarship due to the accident. Tsuneo's spirit had vanished because he could no longer study abroad and dive. The next day, Mai took Tsuneo for a walk and confessed her feelings for him. Tsuneo remained silent and did not respond. Mai went to Josee's house in the afternoon. Mai told Josee that she was in love with Tsuneo and didn't want him to go abroad to study. She wishes Tsuneo would always be by her side. Mai also stated that she knows Tsuneo better than Josee and detailed everything she knows about him. Josee became enraged when he heard this and declared that Tsuneo would never give up. She assured him he would always remember about fish or give up on his dream. Even though she doesn't know him as well as Mai, her feelings for him are stronger. Mai had been doing this so that Josee would do something to assist Tsuneo. Josee has been painting for days and discussing books with Kana at times since then. Meanwhile, Tsuneo's left arm has already improved, but his leg has not. Hayato took Tsuneo to the library one day. They saw Josee, Kana, and the children about to listen to Josee tell a story. Josee begins to tell the tale of a little mermaid and an angel. The plot revolves around Tsuneo and Josee's relationship from when they met until Tsuneo was injured. The story moved Tsuneo to tears after hearing it. Tsuneo was remotivated after hearing this story and worked hard daily during rehab to walk again. Josee, Mai, and Hayato pay for Tsuneo's visits to check on his health. Tsuneo eventually walked again, albeit with a walking stick, and was discharged from the hospital. Tsuneo waited for Josee to pick him up, but Josee never arrived. Tsuneo then went to Josee's house, only to discover that it was empty, with some items already placed inside boxes. Tsuneo returned to Kana's library to inquire about Josee. Kana, on the other hand, had no idea where she was. Tsuneo, Kana, Mai, and Hayato then searched the area for Josee. Josee hit someone on the road late at night, descending quickly from an inclined road. Tsuneo appeared out of nowhere and saved Josee precisely as they first met. Tsuneo told Josee he loved her at the time, and Josee replied that she loved him as well. They then kissed and hugged in the middle of the road. Tsuneo eventually went to Mexico to pursue his dream, and Josee is likely now working as an artist. The final scene shows Josee sitting on a park bench and Tsuneo, who returned home to Japan for spring break, finally meeting again. Thanks for watching. If this series is the most liked in my anime recap production, I will make a part 2. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to help me make more content.